We're going to make Apfelstrudel. I've never actually made this before, but I got my mother-in-law here today, and she's going to walk me through the steps on how to make it the right way. Alrighty, so to start with the dough, I've just got some flour, salt, and I've made a little well and put 2 tablespoons of a neutral oil. I use peanut oil because it has no flavour. And I've got 100 mils of tepid water, which is just slightly warmed water. Okay, all the amounts and ingredients will be on the website, traditionalbutnut.com. The link will be down below. Okay, so I'm just going to start bringing the dough together a little bit with a fork in the bowl. Just add a little bit of water at a time and start bringing it together. I wouldn't add all the water in just yet. Just sort of add a little bit until it starts coming together. And once you're starting to come together, you can go ahead and dump it out on your work surface. You could also use a machine to bring this together, but obviously with keeping in the traditional way, you do it by hand. Alrighty, if it's still too dry, it's not a problem, just add a little bit of water. Just a little bit at a time. And we'll keep kneading and keep bringing it together. So, as you can see, this is a good way to knead it, or the proper way. You got to get into it. We've been kneading the dough there for about 10 minutes, and now we're going to let it rest just out on the board. You know it's ready when you push it and it bounces back slightly. So we've warmed the bowl slightly in the oven. So we're going to leave it on the board here for about 30 minutes, and then while this is resting, we'll start on with the apples. So I've got about 1.5 kilos of apples here, and these apples we have to peel the skin. The ones that you can get in early summer, I'm not sure what they're called, but you can use the peel on these, but these ones we have to peel off. So once you've peeled the apple, I've got a mandolin. Now I don't actually have a bigger mandolin, but I got the one on the side of my box grater here. So you just want to very carefully go ahead and put them in just until you see the core, and then you spin it that side. If you get a little bit of the core in there, it's no big drama. Just carry on. Alright, once you've got it in there, in the bowl, every now and again just get a bit of lemon and just a little bit of lemon juice over the top to mix it in. And that'll stop your apples going brown as you get them all sliced up in the bowl there. Once you've got all your apples sliced up, you got some raisins here. Go and add them to the bowl. Now, this is optional, and you can add more or less. It's personal preference with that one. Also got some white sugar here, just normal white granulated sugar. Add that in. And then also I've got some vanilla sugar. Go ahead and bung that in. And cinnamon. This is also up to taste, how much cinnamon you want to add. But I'm going to add this to the apples, and then maybe I'll taste the apples after, and maybe I'll add a little bit more once we put the filling actually on the pastry. I might sprinkle a little bit more on. So we'll see. So once you got all that added, you just want to go ahead and mix it up. Okay, once you got it all mixed through, we'll set this aside. Now we'll get on to rolling out the dough. Okay, so I got some breadcrumbs here. Now I got my own Kaiser roll and I grated it with the grater. Now I only had one, and that only gave me 54 grams of breadcrumbs when I was finished, and I need 80. So I just topped it up with a little bit of crushed almonds like that. So we're going to add this to a bowl, and then also I've gone ahead and melted some butter as well. We're going to add that. Okay, so I actually made a mistake. When you got the breadcrumbs, you melt the butter, and then you put the breadcrumbs into the pan, because after this, you can just leave the butter in the pan. But because now this has to go onto the stove, and we're just going to get a light browning on this, on the breadcrumbs, and then once I've done that, we'll come back. All right, once the dough's rested, we're just going to put it out on a linen table and lightly flour it, and then you're going to put a little bit of oil on your hands and then it'll make it easier to stretch the dough out.
And the point is, in the middle it's quite thin already.
Yeah.
But outside you have just to
stretch it a little bit more.
And it's not sticky. We did a good job, Mark.
That's good.
Because it's quite thin, you can see.
Yeah.
The hand. Okay. People say that it should be like this thin that you can read the newspaper.
Read the newspaper through it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's something funny maybe you can add.
Yeah. Okay, after you finish stretching it out, you're just going to spread some butter all around the dough. And this is going to create some layers after we finish filling it, and then we roll it. Okay, next step is to spread your breadcrumbs over half of the dough. This step is extremely important because once you put your apples in there and it starts to cook, they will start to leach moisture, and this breadcrumbs will help soak up all that excess. Okay, now you're just going to add your apples onto the top of the breadcrumbs. Don't just dump your apples out of the bowl onto the top of the breadcrumbs, because there's actually some moisture already come out of the apples that's in the bottom of the bowl, and you don't want that in the final product. I'm not actually sure how to best explain this next part, so just watch very carefully and see how the pro here rolls it up. Alright, once you've got it rolled up, you can brush it down with some butter, or some people use egg, but I prefer the butter because it gives a better taste. Alright, now you want to poke a few holes in it to vent the steam so it doesn't have a massive blowout on the side and make a ghastly big hole. Because we rolled the dough out with no holes, Oma said it's already cause for celebration, so we're having a whiskey. Alright, we just took the strudel out of the oven. It took 45 minutes at 180 degrees. Now we're just going to let it cool completely before we get stuck into it. So as you can see, just to finish off the Apfelstrudel, just put a little bit of powdered sugar on top and some whipped cream. Now it really was never much for apple pie or anything like that. But as I get older, I think my taste buds change a little bit. Because that is really damn good.